News360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
EcoBank.
Tonight, Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Chiboisiako, charged with mining without authorization after long interrogation.
Also tonight, growing demand for far-reaching actions to be taken in the visa fraud scandal uncovered at Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C.
And later in the bulletin, some drivers defy GPRTU directive to reduce transport fares by 15%.
In business news, consumer advocacy group Cuts International calls for stronger public transport amid fuel price drop and fare non-compliance.
On the international front, Uganda's army announces suspension of all military cooperation with Germany after accusing its ambassador of being involved in subversive activities. We are live around the world on 3news.com. That's our website. We're streaming there and on Facebook as well. Do let us hear from you on the many stories we have for you tonight.
The news now in detail, and there's growing demand for far-reaching actions to be taken in the visa fraud scandal uncovered at Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. This follows the temporary closure of the embassy over a 5-year-long scheme where some personnel from the IT department redirected applicants to a private website for personal gain. There's more in this report.
Ghana's biggest embassy is without key staff and not open for business after audits sanctioned by the country's foreign affairs minister revealed grand corruption involving an IT personnel. The details of the audit revealed, among many things, a creation of a diversion link which took visa and passport applicants to a private company owned by one Fred Kwarteng, where applicants were charged between $29 to $60 for the service rendered. According to the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, a number of actions have been taken, including the conduct reported to the Attorney General for possible prosecution and retrieval of funds obtained from the fraudulent schemes. All Ministry of Foreign Affairs staff posted to the Washington Embassy recalled home with immediate effect. The Embassy's IT department has been promptly dissolved, and all locally recruited staff at the embassy suspended. Also, the Auditor General has been invited to conduct forensic examination of all transactions and to determine the total cost of the elaborate fraudulent scheme. The embassy is expected to be closed for a few days. Reacting to the development, senior researcher at the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy, Lesia, Dr. Kipo, demanded urgent overhaul of the systems within the embassy and all others the world over.
It should also be an eye-opener for the Minister of Foreign Affairs to look into the recruitment of temporary staff. They need to give them some orientation, some proper training before taking them to the foreign missions, so that we don't see them diverting funds and creating wrong links that could compromise the integrity of the country. So we need to look into the recruitment process. Whether temporal or permanent, we must give all of them very good training, in-service training. Ethical issues must be taken into.
For senior lecturer and head of cybersecurity lab at the Department of Computer Science with the University of Ghana, investigations must go beyond the named individual to include persons with authorization for the website.
It is sad to even mention that per even the laws, I know that some may even lose their jobs. It is very, very sad to say, because there were negligence, people who should have taken, responsibility for certain actions, which they are actually being paid for, and all of that, who, renege on their responsibility, and all those who were not able to do all of this, yes, are clearly going to be sanctioned because, they are actually receiving taxpayers' money and they are being paid for the role and the responsibility that they are supposed to do. So if they failed to actually do this, then it means that, sanctions will definitely be applied.
No clear timelines have been communicated on when the Auditor General and the Attorney General will begin work into this latest damning revelation.
Let's speak to Farouk Al-Wahab. He is an international diplomatic consultant. Farouk, thank you so much for your time. What are the likely repercussions of the embassy scandal on Ghana's diplomatic relations as well as its reputation? Hello, Farouk. Farouk, can you hear me? We'll try once again to reach Farouk Al-Wahab. He is an international diplomatic consultant. When we get him... Hello, Farouk, can you hear me? Farouk. We'll try and reach Farouk again and update our viewers.
Right, so while we wait for that interview, let's bring you some other stories now. And Parliament is expected to resume on Tuesday, the 27th of May, for its second meeting of the first session. The House went on break with major issues, including the probe for destruction of Parliament's property and daughter of a murderer comment that were all left unresolved. Evelyn Tingma recaps the first meeting and highlights what to expect in the next meeting.
January 7 began the first meeting of the 9th Parliament. It was the first time a party had lost so many seats in an election, and there was so much uncertainty. The controversial vetting of 56 ministers and deputy ministers was huge. The first meeting, which lasted for 11 weeks, saw 18 bills presented, out of which 16 were passed. They included the Electronic Transfer Levy Repeal Bill 2025, Revenue Administration Amendment Bill 2025, Emissions Levy Repeal Bill 2025, Earmarked Funds Capping and Realignment Amendment Bill 2025, Energy Sector Levy Bill 2025, the Appropriation Bill and the Ghana Gold Board 2025. The Environmental Protection Regulation, Mining and Forest Reserves, which was referred to the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation for amendments, is said to be repealed altogether following public backlash. The meeting also witnessed President Mahama's first State of the Nation address on February 27 and the 2025 budget presentation by the Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen on March 11. There were also leadership changes in the House by both the NDC and NPP. Despite the legislative and oversight roles, one incident continues to be an albatross on the House. A misunderstanding at the vetting committee led to the destruction of public property, compelling the Speaker to suspend 4 MPs for 2 weeks and set up a committee to investigate the chaos. The House begins a second meeting on Tuesday, May 27, and is expected to focus on key legislative bills such as the Grains Development Bill, which stakeholders are advocating to boost sector growth through value addition. The House may also exercise its oversight role, scrutinizing government policies and actions as seen in the vetting process of ministerial nominees. Budgetary allocations, research grants and financial management are likely to feature in this meeting. And yes, expect more drama as both sides get set to do the usual politicking. The Ghanaian people, however, would be interested in knowing the outcome of the committee set up by the Speaker to probe the destruction of Parliament's property at the vetting committee. Another matter that was unresolved and would need answers is the investigation into the daughter of a murderer comment. While the Ghanaian people wait for the outcome of these matters, the Minority Caucus is reported to have met over the weekend to strategize on ways to conduct business in this particular meeting. One can only wait. Evelyn Tingma, TV3 News, Parliament House.
Let's return to the visa fraud scandal at the embassy and speak to Farouk Al-Wahab. He is an international diplomatic consultant. Farouk, thank you so much for your time. What are the likely repercussions of this scandal on Ghana's diplomatic relations as well as its reputation?
Hello, good evening, once. Good evening. Yes, if I could hear you could, your question again, because the background was too noisy.
Okay, I was asking of the likely repercussions of this scandal on Ghana's diplomatic relations as well as its credibility.
Okay. Well, it's a little bit of a very diplomatic, but regards to the fact that closing down a mission, which is one of the largest that the country can have outside, if you're talking about the concurrent missions abroad. The highest one, in my view, is the Ghana mission in the UN rep. And then comes the Washington, you have the Switzerland, and then you have the Geneva, the Belgium, the Brussels. But the one in Washington since 1957, I think there have been different misunderstandings, maybe different official, let's call it, maybe mafia science, call it corruptible practices, etc. But to me, the Honorable Minister, if on instructions of the President, then all of us, anybody who analyzes in different way, maybe he has authorization, but that even not notwithstanding, I believe that the processes of shutting down a mission, i.e. a mission like Washington, to me it is a bit too much of a big deal to do, meaning that over 120 staffs that you have out there start to be corrected, but there are many because they're like mission. You have a lot of departments, the consular section, the secretariat of the scholarship, and then you have also the political desk and other different ones of them. This issue seems to deal with only the visa and then also the payment of passport and visa fees. It means that it has to do with the finance directorate of the mission, and for that matter, the IT that is in charge of the visa application, etc. So this particular unit, in my view, you can plug it, not more than maybe 10 people on that schedule. Now I'm asking that event that leads to shutting down a mission in a country like United States of America and for that matter, Washington, the process is, in my view, sometimes you have to do with one. Maybe the Ghana ambassador or the resident ambassador, whoever, had involved himself with any espionage activities that would bring the mission down by the host nation. If in case the embassy or the staff are found or maybe dealing with American enemies, in this case, let's say Russia or China, etc., in a more different security, America will call it maybe security threat, they can shut it down. Or any other thing has to do with the American wanted person who is not seeking refuge with the Ghana embassy, but rather hiding there and we're hiding the person. The whole nation can do it. In this case, our foreign minister or our government is shutting down our mission, recalling all of them. You know the implication. The implication number one is that they are working there with diplomatic resident visa, which is more or less indirectly a diplomatic resident permit, working permit. So the moment that you come out to say that you report all your staff on corruptible practices, then you bring in the American FCPA, the Foreign Corrupt Practice Authority in America, to come in. What is it? Before they come to know that, okay, this person is passed, the other person is passed. Yeah. They have the right to cancel all their visas.
All right, now Farouk, the minister also used his personal social media page to communicate this information to us. Do you think this was an effective way for him to communicate this?
You see, to me, that is where I have my problem a bit with my good friend somewhat. I would have, in the case, or when it has to do with diplomacy, it has nothing to do with the public because there are a lot of officials of embassies in Ghana here who have mishandled, misappropriated, misbehaved with their mission. It's only the people that pick up the UN embassy, the Canadian embassy, the British embassy, all of them. They don't put those things out there. So one, it's supposed not to be because we have the director of our foreign affairs, and we know the people involved. you call them down to Accra, or even to that extent, the head of missions out there, the financial head out there, the foreign minister, and the chief director, organ investigative body. We have IG, we have the research department, who are also our security. You can deal with that issue without necessarily making it publicly known, because now we know the Trump and how Trump sees Africa. This matter, the Honorable Minister consulted Anthony Blinken, because to shut down the missions and the United States or any other country, you have to come and then report. You have to tell the State Department. So my question is that, was the State Department of the United States informed that Ghana temporarily we are shutting down over what? The crisis of visa or crisis of domestic financial mafia signs? I think it was a bit too much big and too much bigger thing that we are going to lose.
Farouk, thank you so much for your time, Farouk Al-Wahab. He is an international diplomatic consultant.
Well, the issue of Chairman Wontumi is back in the news. Last Friday, there was a botched attempt to arrest him. Today, he availed himself in Accra. Now, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Entry-Boisiako, also known as Chairman Wontumi, has been charged for mining without authorization. He reported to the Criminal Investigations Department at the Ghana Police headquarters in Accra earlier today for questioning. He arrived in the company of his legal counsel, Godfrey Dame, and former Member of Parliament for Asante Achim North, Andy Appiah-Kubi. Wontumi's appearance before the CID follows a dramatic turn of events last Friday, the 23rd of May, when a combined team of national security operatives and police officers made a failed attempt to arrest him at his residence. The incident sparked considerable public interest, fueled by online videos that depicted heavily armed personnel surrounding his residence. Well, on the back of that, his lawyers said that they were going to bring him themselves to Accra to report to the CID office, and he actually appeared before them earlier today. So as soon as he finished, after about 8 hours of interrogation, Chairman Wontumi came out and, first of all, denied being involved with the mining company that he's been accused of working with. Let's listen to specifically what Chairman Wontumi has been saying.
Na se menye galamse enti me de me lances no e de kire omo ama omo hunu ye de to so bio omo sa ka se me ye adwuma e wo forest and so me catch rom say enye me a me nkonko ye adwuma e wo forest biya mu ba ye so mo evidence a omo betimi e de akire me na emre bi me apply lances wo ho nanso so forestry commission and lands commission and mines commission omo ye say omo de ho na ma forestry commission for so omo nhwe ho enti omo ana eye custodian a omo ye responsible a omo hwe eho menko ho da ti so obi ye adwuma wo ho ne ade a enye medin mu enye bibia enumu ana ye wie ye no omo ema bill two sureties.
Right, so that is Bernard, Chairman Wontumi, I should say. Let's try and get some legal perspectives to what has transpired today. Martin Pebu is a private legal practitioner who has, for a long time, been pushing for the state security authorities to actually look into some of the activities Chairman Wontumi has been involved in, including his Akonta mining. Well, today the issue came up at the interrogation, and Martin Pebu has joined us. Good evening, Counsel. Thank you for your time.
Yes, good evening. Is this Marina or my name?
This is Martin, your name. Right.
Okay, good.
So let's delve into the specifics. So Chairman Wontumi says that first he was asked whether he had license to mine, and he said yes and showed them the license. Secondly, he says that he was asked whether he was mining in a forest area, and he said no, he wasn't. The charge that has been slapped on him is mining in unauthorized mining. Was that part of the issues you had concerns with earlier when you were calling for the police to investigate him?
Yes, absolutely. You know, when we say illegal mining, right, it covers a lot of things. You heard him say that he gave some people opportunity, right? He applied. What he's saying is that he applied to the Forestry Commission and he hadn't heard from them. And so if somebody is mining, the person must have been mining illegally. Look, Martin, cut to the chase. We have drone footages, pictures showing Akunta mining vehicles and their officers. They were even resisting the Forestry Commission officials. Number two, Martin, you had Abu Jinapo, Minister for Lands and Forestry, come to say that Akunta mining had no license to do what they were doing. You also had the matter of the Minerals Commission. Martin Isi came out to say the same thing. Forestry Commission came out to say the same thing. These officers, thankfully, are alive, so they will come and testify. Chairman Wontumi is, you know, it's normal that an accused person usually would try to deny the offense, etc. But when we get into court, and even before the videos are played to him, thankfully, in Ghana's current law, he will be given what we call criminal disclosures. So the video footages, etc., will be given to him before. Then he will see Akunta mining vehicles. You will see car number. Who is this car registered to? And other sources of evidence, his employees in the videos. So this one is just brinkmanship. It's normal for an accused to deny. But when we get into the box, we'll see. So Martin, this is a case of Christmas come early. Yes, I dare say this is Christmas come early for Ghanaians. Right. But today, accountability is coming to Chairman Wontumi, and it's a strength of our democracy.
And would this stick, this particular charge? Are you optimistic that it will stick? And is this based off on the fact that vehicles supposedly belonging to his company and or individuals supposedly working for his company may have been breaching the law, so because of that, he is indirectly expected to be guilty or supposed to be guilty?
Yes, I'm confident the charges will stick, extremely. Martin, let's not make light of the fact that Abu Jinapo, Minister for Lands and Forestry, granted an interview and said Akunta mining had no license to enter Tanonimre Forest. Please, viewers, you can Google it. It's online. Right. Martin Isi also came out. Forestry Commission came out. They will not come and start answering hypothetical questions. When these big leaders of their institutions came out, they were not answering hypothetical questions. It was put to them that Chairman Wontumi and Akunta mining are in the Tanonimre Forest, and they were answering those specific ones, believing that that was Akunta mining. So these big people will come to court to testify. Look, it's brinkmanship. It's normal. Any experienced criminal defense lawyer will tell you that usually the accused will will deny the offense, because in law, it is the duty of the state to prove to him that he's committed an offense. Right. So it's when you show him the evidence, then he has to admit. So let's be patient. Okay. Christmas come early.
All right. Mr. Kwebu, thank you so much for your time. Certainly, like you indicated, it's a developing story, so we'll certainly keep a close eye on it for you subsequently.
In more news tonight, lawyer of the former Signals Bureau Director and his spouse, Samuel Atachia, has noted that his clients are not considering any plea bargain, maintaining that his clients are innocent. Earlier, the Accra High Court ordered the Defense Counsel not to indulge in any plea deal agreement until prosecution has filed, and accordingly served them with the full disclosures they will rely on. A report by Lord Idoasari.
The case was called on Monday, May 26. Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Remsai pleaded with the court to be given more time to file the state's disclosures after failing to meet the deadline given by the court. He explained that the investigator on the matter was temporarily unavailable and will be available on Friday. Lead counsel for Kwabena Duboahin, Samuel Atachia did not oppose the plea. The presiding judge, John Nyedu Nyante, then ordered the disclosures be filed by June 2nd. The judge also ordered counsel for the accused persons to engage in plea bargain discussions with the prosecution only after the Attorney General has filed and served the disclosures. Prior to his decision, the lawyers for both parties were seen conversing outside the courtroom, followed by a private sidebar meeting with the presiding judge. Commenting on the development, however, Samuel Atachia maintained that his client is innocent and dismissed any considerations of a plea bargain.
Would you consider that?
No. There's nothing on the table for us to plea bargain. It's a variable in the case management process. Yeah, it's a variable. So he's thinking elastic, but we've not made any overtures relating to plea bargain.
The Deputy Attorney General, in an earlier discussion with the media on a separate matter, had indicated that some accused persons had approached the Attorney General for a plea bargain deal.
A number of people have approached us with offers, some including money being returned, and we have agreed with some of them, and some of them have agreed to be witnesses for us against some of the accused persons.
It remains to be seen if this option will be explored by the defense in the former Signals Bureau Director's case. Hearing of the case has been adjourned to June 10. Lodi Dasari, TV3 News, Accra.
The government of Ghana has approved a strategic exemption of electricity bills for selected state institutions following a cabinet decision chaired by President John Dramani Mahama himself. The initiative, announced by the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Dr. John Abdullahi Jinapo, is aimed at ensuring uninterrupted service delivery to critical sectors, including security, health, and education. The policy, which takes immediate effect, will see the Ministry of Finance absorb the electricity costs through budgetary allocations. The exemptions are strictly limited to core operational units, excluding auxiliary and non-essential facilities. Institutions covered under the exemption is what I'll be taking you through shortly, so you get to be on the same page with us. So the exempted institutions are: 1, the Office of the President, the Ministry of Defense, another the Ministry of Defense. These are the specific areas that are exempt: the Military Intelligence, the National Defense Communications, and then the Emergency Systems Unit. They are exempt when you look at the Ministry of Defense. When you come to the Ministry of Interior, the exemption is limited to only the police and emergency response units, which means the barracks and all the other places, they now have to pay for themselves. Under the Ministry of Health, hospitals, theaters, blood banks, labs, wards, excluding staff housing and leisure spaces, are all exempted. When you come to the Ministry of Education, classrooms, lecture halls, universities and labs, and then research facilities, excluding dormitories and recreational areas, have all been exempted. And again, the Ministry of Interior, we're talking about the police, and then the emergency response units are those that are going to benefit from the exemptions that have been given by the state.
Let's now go to the Bono East region, where commuters have expressed widespread frustration and displeasure as a significant number of commercial drivers continue to disregard the GPRT use directive for a 15% fare reduction. The drivers cite persistent and rising cost of spare parts as a primary reason for their defiance, claiming the reduction would cripple the operations.
Passengers who had eagerly anticipated the relief find themselves in confrontation with drivers who insist on charging the old fares.
They are still saying the same thing. So let's say you have budgeted that from where that you are coming from. This is the fare that you will pay, and they've made the news that they will reduce the price. So you have made your budget, and now you have come to the station, and they're also saying another thing that they will buy NG on you, they will buy this, they will buy that.
Say AC now. When it happens like this, it's actually a problem, because when you're leaving the house, you budget your money, but you get to the station, they are saying something different. It's actually concerning. When I was coming from Akumadan, the car I boarded told me they haven't reduced their fares, but here they have reduced theirs, and so If some have reduced theirs and some haven't, then it's actually a cheat. If it's regulatory, then everybody should abide. Drivers, however, paint a different picture. They argue that while fuel prices may have seen a reduction, the cost of maintaining their vehicles continue to skyrocket due to exorbitant spare parts prices. Our problem is not with the cut, but we are expecting that as they reduce the fares, we expect the spare parts to also reduce their prices so that we can also be on the same level. But if fares are reduced and spare parts are still as expensive as they used to be, then we will be at the losing end. They've rolled out the regulations, but we are yet to abide by it because spare parts are still expensive. If we reduce our prices while there's no regulations on spare parts, it will go against us.
You're still watching News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. We have the latest in the world of business for you after the break.
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and oh, does it? Yes. Look right here. Yes. President Charcoal has two of the latest powerful whitening ingredients with the power of activated charcoal and lemon essence. It removes stains and whitens teeth naturally. Convinced?
Well, I am. Just look at your beautiful President smiles.
For naturally whiter teeth.
Welcome back to News 360. Time now for business. Michael Obodu joins us with the latest.
Hello, people.
All right, good to see you on a Monday. What's to be expected in business?
Well, basically, you know, the issue of the non-compliance with the reduction in transport fares. Consumer Advocacy Group Gov't International thinks that maybe government has to become an active player in the delivery of public service, transport service. Maybe that will give competition and help get the prices to come down.
Details then.
All right, hello there, good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, Consumer Advocacy Group Gov't International is urging the government to strengthen public transport operations as fuel prices continue to fall. The call follows concerns that some commercial drivers are not complying with the GPRTU's directive to reduce fares by 15%. Fuel prices in Ghana have declined 6 consecutive times since the beginning of the year. It is currently selling at 12 cedis 45 cedis at some stations like Star Oil, down from about 15 Ghana cedis. The constant drop prompted the Ghana Private Road Transport Union GPRTU to announce a 15% reduction in fares after discussions with government. The new fares took effect on Saturday, but compliance has been patchy. In parts of the Ashanti region, for example, some transport operators ignored the directive, a move that has left many commuters frustrated.
And these same drivers who are not permitting the prices to fall so that consumers will benefit, they would also be expecting other service providers like PUIC and others to also reduce their prices. I think it is very wrong. I mean, look at how the OMCs have been reducing their prices every 2 weeks. And next price window comes on, I think, over this coming weekend. And prices of fuel was going to fall down, between 6 to 10%.
To address the situation, the West Africa Director for Gov't International, Apia Kusi Adumakun, says government must take a more active role in public transport delivery to ensure affordable and reliable options for commuters.
When you travel abroad and even most cities across Africa, the mass transit are run by the city. There's a policy reason why the government runs and controls the running of these buses. And I hope that this government would revamp the Ayalololo so that if Ayalololo was doing well and have reduced their prices by, let's say, 20%, we'll see that the truck drivers would also match their reduction, because if they don't match it, everybody will switch on to Ayalololo.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union GPRTU has condemned the refusal of some of its members to comply with a directive to reduce fares by 15%.
Some of our drivers are saying, yes, spare parts have not been reduced. It is only fuel, so there's no justification in reducing lorry. That is wrong. That is one of the components we use to run transport. So any of the components, I quite remember also there was a year we increased lorry fares due to high cost of living. We also stood on high cost of living and we increased lorry fares. I quite remember one of the increments we made. So when anybody says spare parts have not been taken, so on fuel alone, there's no justification on that. So we should stop saying that. And we are still pleading with them that with the explanation that each time we meet with the transport ministry, then the issue becomes law for all of us to comply.
President John Dramani Mahama has announced plans by government to reopen both the domestic and international capital markets geared towards revitalizing the bond market. Announcing an 8-point plan for economic reset, the president emphasized that future borrowing will be linked to self-financing and only commercially viable projects.
Speaking at the 9th Ghana CEO Summit, he outlined an 8-point agenda hinged on his economic reset, among which he emphasized the importance of maintaining strict fiscal discipline in government spendings and borrowing while working towards targets set under the Extended Credit Fund of the IMF.
We're working to reopen Ghana's bond market in collaboration with the IMF and our development partners, the Ghana Stock Exchange and local banks. However, future borrowing will be linked to self-financing commercially viable projects, particularly by MDAs, MMDAs, and SOEs, ensuring value for money and sustainable repayment.
Ghana has been out of the capital market months ahead of going to the IMF, reaffirming his administration's dedication to fiscal discipline
towards exiting the International Monetary Fund program by 2026, the president said fiscal recklessness will not be tolerated.
Despite these challenges, I remain optimistic. Ghana has what it takes to recover, not by repeating the past mistakes, but by learning from it and innovating for the future.
Since the assumption of office, there's been auditing of government's commitments, leading to a delay in releases from the Finance Ministry.
The Auditor General is completing an audit of arrears and commitments, government commitments, and we expect to receive his report by the end of May. We'll then commence to clear legitimate arrears transparently and enforce commitment controls through the gift mix and the IPSAS-based accounting systems. New projects will be prioritized based on need, funding availability, and alignment with our national interest.
The president praised the CD performance, urging companies to reduce their prices to reflect the gains.
Let me take the opportunity to commend those of you who have responded to the CD's appreciation by reducing prices of your products and services, and thereby passing some of the relief from the hardship to Ghanaians.
Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Johnson Isiama, dispelled suggestions that the Bank of Ghana was supporting the CD rise with its reserves.
The Central Bank is not, and the not is in capital letters. The Central Bank is not using its international reserves to support the CD, nor are we engineering an appreciation in the CD that will not be sustainable. It's all market-driven, and the strengthening of the currency reflects a blend of disciplined monetary policy, tailored foreign forex auction reforms, enhanced remittance channels, and stricter market surveillance.
Several CEOs were awarded, including Media General's Chief Executive Officer, Beatrice Ajiman, who was adjudged the CEO of the year 2024 media category in radio.
And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next is sports.
oil.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. We start off with the Black Stars, who have officially released a 23-man squad for the upcoming 2025 Unity Cup with a number of absentees. The tournament, which brings together African and Caribbean football nations in London, will see Ghana face Nigeria in the first semi-finals at the G-Tech Community Stadium on Wednesday. For more perspective, let's hear from General Manager of Media General Sports, Michael Oti, who is currently in London.
Nice bright day in London. The Black Stars have been arriving in batches throughout the day. We've seen Lawrence Atizigi come in. We've seen Brandon Thomas Asante arrive a bit earlier. We've seen a lot of the players coming, a lot of the players in the squad released by Otuado earlier this morning. Essentially, this is what's happened. Off the back of the end of the season, the Black Stars will be without a lot of key players for the game that they will play against Nigeria. There is no Kudus Mohamed, there is no Kamaldeen Sulemana, there is no Thomas Partey, there is no Antoine Semenyo, there is no Inaki Williams. And from the small checks that I did, this is basically because some of the players asked for permission to stay away, and that all of this has been done with the express understanding of the team, with the players having gone through this long, dragging, complicated season. What is definite though is that Coach Otuado wants to use this game to give a lot of other players the opportunity. Take the former West Ham goalkeeper Joseph Annan, who plays for St. Patrick Thistle, for instance. He's one of the new players who have come in. Brandon Thomas Asante has not had this opportunity for a while. A player like Salis Mohamed may have been celebrating Premier League qualification with Sunderland over the weekend, but he's barely played. So there are a lot of players who have come into the squad named by Otuado who will fancy a chance to make a case for themselves. And I think that will be the main thing. When Otuado addressed a press conference earlier today, he didn't want to get into the details of why the players were absent and all that. He said he wanted to focus on the ones here. And I think the whole of the Ghana Football Association, followers of the Black Stars, particularly bearing in mind that September will hope that there will be signs from these players that even in the absence of a lot of those key players, they are prepared to step in and deliver the goods and deliver them efficiently.
Well, still on the Black Stars, because the head coach of the national team, Otuado, has stated that his team wants to make the most out of the Unity Cup. Ghana is set to compete in the tournament alongside Nigeria, Jamaica, as well as Trinidad and Tobago. Now, speaking ahead of the tournament, Ado stressed its importance, explaining that if he is given the chance in this tournament, he would use it to monitor the players ahead of the next round of games in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, so first of all, we'd like to thank you for the invitation. We're very, very happy to be here. I think if all the culture meets, it's a big festival. It's very, very nice to be here, and surely we are using this opportunity to do further tests, to test our players, to see our players on a very, very high level. And we're happy that we are getting this opportunity. And for us, it's surely a good test for the upcoming World Cup qualifying games in September. For us, it's like I said, it's a good test, and it's for our confidence will be good for the upcoming games. And for us, we really need to know. We have so many open questions on players, and I'm happy to give also some new and young players some possibilities to play and to show what they can. And surely after this tournament, some questions will be answered. And for us also, we have a big community here in England. It's very, very important for us also for them to see and feel the players. And so for us, it's a very, very good opportunity to play in this, participate in this tournament.
So Ghana would face Nigeria on Wednesday and in the Unity Cup semi-finals. We build up to that on our social media handles at 3SportsGH. My name is Oreku Ampofo. Up next on the bulletin is entertainment with Nuala Donko.
360.
Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, the 2025 Korea Week Festival climaxed with a Korean speech contest, food exhibition, and a K-pop contest to showcase Korean popular music, dance, and traditional cuisine. Now, the annual celebration aims to introduce the diversity of Korean culture to Ghanaians. Organized by the Embassy of Korea, the Korea Week celebration is designed to promote cultural exchange and strengthen the friendly relationship between Korea and Ghana. The 2025 event was hugely attended by students from the University of Ghana and many other admirers of the Korean culture. Patrons learn and seize the opportunity to sample everything Korean, from food, drinks, music to dance. Some 8 contestants participated in the K-pop contest, showcasing exceptional skills on various aspects of Korean music and dance. Geraldine Marilyn Nimene, a choreographer and a final year political science and information studies student, was adjudged the winner of the K-pop contest.
So with the preparations, I took the famous K-pop songs that everybody would know, that everybody would be able to relate to, and I honestly I only had this morning to rehearse because I also had to prepare for the speech. So this morning I just woke up, I just did a few rehearsals, and at the end of the day I still ended up winning the competition.
Andrew Alani Anang Tete beat off stiff competition from other determined participants to emerge winner of the Korean speech contest. The week also featured a quiz which tested the knowledge of patrons on Korean history and culture, a cultural exchange program, and a cooking competition. Patrons were given the opportunity to sample a wide variety of traditional Korean cuisine. Media General's TV3 Head of Entertainment, Giovanni Caleb, was the judge for the K-pop contest.
To boost growth and development for our people, especially young people. I was particularly very impressed with the whole cult following of K-pop here in Ghana, especially among young people, singing word for word, dancing to all these popular tunes and all that. I think if we channel all our energies into, promoting cross-promotion of cultural differences and all that, we would make a lot out of it.
His Excellency Park Kyung-sing is the Korean ambassador to Ghana.
We will send the video clips of all the participants to Korea. And there's a selection process. And if they are highly qualified, my government will invite some of them to Korea for the final competition among all the competitors from many countries.
And that's it for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
All right, thank you very much, Noella, for the latest in the world of entertainment. And that's it for the bulletin. There is more on our website, 3news.com. I am Martin Aseidu.
And I am Portia. Gabor, good evening.